Let's get more now from the Shadow Treasurer and Deputy Opposition Leader Ted O'Brien. Thanks for your time. It's also worth noting the Governor today was saying the fact we're seeing people out there spending money is good news. It's good news for the economy as unemployment remains very low and the economy is bouncing back. Do you agree with the Governor?
Great to be with you, Tom. And I think the Governor's right to be pointing to some good news, which is people are spending. And the reason why it's good news is we need to see private citizens and private companies doing more of the spending and less of the government. This government is just on a spending spree, and that is why inflation has been higher for longer, interest rates have been higher for longer, and with the decision today to keep rates on hold, the average mortgage holder in Australia, Tom, will keep paying about $1,800 more every single month compared to when the Coalition was in government. So there's still a lot of pain out there. And of course, a lot of people will be disappointed with just today's decision. But this decision, I believe, is a direct consequence of the government spending spree.
Okay, so spending spree is a fairly loaded term. Given that, and the government's already outlined it wants to reduce spending in the NDIS, which you agree with. But what other spending, even if it's just in broad areas or portfolios, where's the spending spree happening? What other spending would you get rid of?
So, Tom, firstly, you're right in saying it might be a loaded phrase, spending spree, but I use it deliberately because the facts bear that out. Spending has increased by $160 billion this year compared to the Coalition's last budget. I mean, this is the highest spending we've seen in 40 years. It's gone from 24 to 27% of GDP. I mean, it's out of control. So here's the one thing that we would be doing that this government is not. We would be introducing fiscal rules, some rules to contain the Treasurer's spending. And I'm not just sort of beating up on the Albanese government here and saying, isn't the Coalition great? Actually, former Labor governments and former Coalition governments, all the way back to the Hawke administration, had fiscal rules until Anthony Albanese came along and he allowed Jim Chalmers to spend anything he likes, which is why spending has gotten out of control. And we heard again concern from Michelle Bullock, the Governor of the RBA today, about the risks of inflation. The more government spends, the more inflation goes up, as in prices of everything goes up. And unfortunately, that limits the wriggle room for the RBA to reduce the cash rate.
But you've had a lot of time to look at the last budget and indeed the budgets handed down under the Albanese government. So is there anything, even an area you'd nominate as saying that's where the spending's too high?
I will, but can I make a point before I give it to you, Tom? And that is,
sure,
it's the responsibility, in fact, it's the entitlement of a government to nominate its spending priorities. They can do that. But it's also the responsibility of the same government to identify how it's going to finance those spending priorities. What the Albanese government can't do is say, here are our priorities to go spend, and then call on the Coalition to go and work out how to finance it. Right? And so let me now answer your question.
I'm not saying that, though. I'm saying
point,
the reduced spending. It's actually a different question.
So when it comes to where I can identify an example of spending to be reduced, let me talk about the fringe benefits tax carve-outs for electric vehicles. So here you have a government policy which is now costing well over 10 times what they thought it would, which is completely inequitable. And so it basically allows somebody to take out a lease on, let's say, an EV, a Tesla Model Y, and the taxpayer picks up a good chunk of the cost. It's completely inequitable because the more money you earn, so the richer you are, the more your lease gets subsidised by the taxpayer. The poorer you are, the less money you earn, the less you actually get subsidised.
I'm jumping in because James Patterson, your colleague,
and that's an example.
In the finance portfolio, identified the same one. So is that it? It's just the one example that the coalition is pointing out?
It is the only one we're giving you today, Tom, and I tell you why. We need to get this message through because I think it symbolises what this Albanese government is all about. This is inequitable, completely unfair. It is a waste of taxpayer money. It has blown the budget to pieces. It's actually 13 times what they thought it would cost. 13 times is how much it's costing. And they just want to keep on going with it. And it's a prime example of wasteful spending, their spending spree.
The tobacco excise, it's not raising the money it was thought to, and it's created this black market. Can we be simple about this and say, sounds strange to say make cigarettes cheaper, but you need to do that in order to stop this black market? Is that something the Coalition is directly calling for?
We're not calling for any direct change now. And until we settle our policy, we won't be, revealing such a position. However, it's clear the government has changed the tax settings when it comes to tobacco. But like this government always does, Tom, it doesn't think of the second-order consequences. The second-order consequences here has been the black market. It has been illicit tobacco and vaping. And we've seen criminal syndicates having a field day here. And this is the problem. If you're going to increase taxes, you have to think of second-order consequences. It's the same criticism, by the way, I have of the government when it comes to their superannuation tax of unrealised capital gains. They're not thinking of the second-order effects. What then happens?
And is the tax so high on tobacco now that it's going to create that black market? No matter what you do on law and order, it's just too expensive, and that's what you're looking at? Is that your view before deciding on the exact policy?
Our primary view right now is the need for government to do more in enforcement. That's our primary view. And we don't hold it alone, by the way. You have Labor state governments with the exact same view. State governments who have primary responsibility for law and order on the ground, in communities.
So more enforcement, but you keep the excise just as high.
Again, I'm not revealing what will end up with our policy in that regard, Tom. We'll go through the details. We'll reveal our policy when it comes to taxation. But right now, the priority is enforcement is the problem.
Should the Liberal Party keep net zero as a policy?
Oh, that's an interesting question, Tom. You're the first one to ask this for the last couple of weeks. So, as you well know, we're going through a process at the moment, and everyone's having their say, which is good to see. There's certainly unity around where we need to get to, which is we need to make sure we have the cheapest provision of electricity and energy that we can in this country. And the Labor government, their approach is just sending prices higher. You know, we started this conversation talking about the RBA and inflation. You've got electricity up 39% under this government, gas up 38%. Why? Because of government settings. The government's pathway to decarbonisation is an absolute disaster, which is why Australians are getting poorer, businesses are closing down, industries are now looking at offshoring. This is the problem.
You know a fair bit about this, though. Andrew Hastie's made his view clear. Do you have a clear view? Is it viable to still have net zero as the Liberal Party is weighing this up? Is it a viable policy?
Oh, Tom, there's no doubt every individual in the party has the right to speak their mind, and they do so in their own way. The way that I do it will be directly with colleagues, and that's why I'll be doing it. No disrespect to you personally, I won't be doing it through your program today.
Ted O'Brien, appreciate your time today. Thank you.
And yours, Tom. Thanks very much.